Austraeoh by Imploding Colon, read by Deathlight, Chapter 138, Obelisk. Duke's Zomnat is filled with a bound as the cold shrieks dwindled into the gaping pit beneath him. Sincere sighed. As much to regret this action, the fate of Darkstream's industry is that a rainbow streak soared straight past him, nearly throwing the stallion off his hooves. Ugh! Both guards and foals gasped at the speeding Pegasus diving clear through the rusted door to the abyss. In a blur of blue, she disappeared. Rainbow Dash held her breath the entire time she plunged into the darkness. She couldn't see the bottom of the abyss. Her eyes filled with the fluctuating bands of plasma, and her ears twitched with the echoes of the cult screams. Shaking the dizziness out of her head, she flung a hoof down to her pendant and rubbed the ruby lightning bolt. A dim beam of red light shimmered down, and she barely saw the tips of the foal's flailing limbs. Grinding her teeth, Rainbow curled her wings to her sides. She dove like a lead arrow shot into the heart of the world. The air whistled on all sides of her until she was deaf, just as a huge, glossy wave of black loomed into focus. She caught up with Flower Gears' sibling and clutched him with all four limbs.
Gotcha!
Rainbow Dash barely had time for a second breath. She spun with a colt in her grasp and floated her wings up high like a parachute. The heated friction in the air tugged at her wings until they felt as if they would rip from their joints. She winced, her eyes watering, and managed to flap them once, twice, before leveling out in a sustained hover. It was just in time too. Barely 4 feet below Rainbow Dash loomed the sharp, pointed edge of a black object. The huge spike jutted upwards at a length of about 20 feet from where it had sunk at the bottom of the cylindrical abyss. Only by the glare of Rainbow's pendant she could make out the sharp obelisk's tip, and then something else. The breath left her in a squeak that mimicked the cult's gasping breath. Her ruby eyes darted left and right at the frayed edges of her ruby spotlights. She made out the limbs at first. They were pale stalks, thin and gangly. It took her several seconds of morbid comprehension to discover that most of the flesh was rotten off. Mane hair hung in tatters, where flanks of skin collected around crumpled bodies. Teeth glistened and jaws frozen in agony. The smell of the place was dank, copper, and Rainbow figured it wasn't from rust.
What?
The cult stammered in confusion and panic.
Don't look, kid.
Rainbow Dash breathlessly murmured, holding him so tight that his face was buried in her shoulder.
Just don't.
Her peripheral vision quivered. She glanced aside and saw a bright pair of spots where the lavender light was at the brightest. The phenomenon cast no shadow, and her heart beat faster from simply looking at it. It took an astronomical effort to rip her gaze away. After all, there was something far more grave to deal with, and in Rainbow's recent experience, horror trumped awe.
Who are you?
The cult murmured. Rainbow glanced at the bodies once again. They were all tiny. They had all been young. She swallowed hard.
I'm gonna get you out of here, kid.
With a heavy flap of her wings, she shot straight up the hole. The colt whimpered and clung to her tight as she soared towards the slim circle of foggy starlight that made up the top rim of the pit. When she burst out into the Darkstanian night, there were no terrors to fire at her. Rainbow Dash figured that was because the pit was not only located in the center of New Ring's east and west districts, but the spot was sacred ground to the unicorns. Spinning about, she caught her bearings and carefully touched down on the east side. Okay, listen to me carefully. She spoke to the colt as she placed him down on his hooves. See that big, brass-framed building just 2 blocks away?
Yes.
The colt said, still visibly trembling. Run straight towards it. It's the home of Governor Mintel. As soon as the guards hear one sentence out of you, they'll know that you're not just any kid in need, and they'll listen to what you have to say. And if that doesn't work out, just ask for a tall, dark, and gruesome stallion named Steel Teeth. What should I tell them? Tell them that Duke Zobnotter's up to no good, and lives of dozens, if not hundreds of innocent fools are at risk. If Governor Minto is holding back from crossing the wall of New Ring, now is good reason to smash a frickin' hole through the thing. There's too much at stake. But I don't understand. The coal cried as Rainbow levitated upwards. Why won't you come with me? 'Cause I've got a huge gas mask to kick in. Rainbow grumbled. Go and fetch the governor and Steel Teeth, kid. You won't see me until I've rescued all your friends. With a burst of air, she backflipped, somersaulted across the starlights, and dove like a missile straight down into the pits.